9, 11.
Stand in the shadow of night. The hour is late and you know the time waits for no one.
Let's go! He walks merrily down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging?
Was bad.
I agree with that.
9/11. 9/11.
Eyeliner tutorial for baby bats. Because of the precise brush tip, I prefer NYX Epic Ink Liner. To start, you go from your outer corner as close as you can, straight up, following the shape of your lower lash line. From there, you go down and meet at the center of your lid. Personally, I make sure to cover the outer corner of my crease just because of my eye shape, and fill it in. For the triangle on the inner corner, you pull straight across from your lash line and just under your tear duct to make a little triangle. And here's me doing the other side just so you can see one more time. Moving your head instead of your hand when doing graphic liner or any eyeliner in general ensures that you have steadier lines and smoother shapes, like with this one under my brow bone. Then you connect this with a little half moon and fill it in to get a super easy graphic liner. They are never going to be symmetrical, so don't worry about it, because that makes it yours. Love you, bye!
Now let my body do the moving. Now let my hands do the soothing. Let me show you the world in my eyes. That's all there is. Nothing more than you can feel now. Open up your loving legs, watch out, here I come. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Vows are spoken to be broken. Feelings are intense, words are trivial. Pleasures remain, so does the pain. Words are meaningless. And
black box. Bella Lugosi, white on white, translucent black capes, back on the rack. Bella Lugosi's dead, the bats have left the bell tower, the victims have been bled, red velvet lines, the black box. Bella Lugosi's dead. Bella Lugosi's dead. I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead.
Gravity and talk with me about the Gothic subculture. To start this mini-series, we're gonna talk about how the Gothic subculture developed. Gothic is a music-based subculture and was founded in the 70s to 80s and came mostly out of the punk subculture. Even though it might sound like it, the Gothic subculture has not really much to do with architecture or literature. The term Gothic was made up by the people who listened to Gothic music and, of course, the bands themselves. There are rumors that the manager of Joy Division got asked in a BBC interview what kind of music Joy Division would actually make, and he answered Gothic music. And maybe everyone liked the term and just kind of continued with it. So the Gothic subculture was made mostly by the people who listened to Gothic music. Over the time, they formed an own identity and especially own morals and point of views. Gothic became a lifestyle and way more than just music, even though it's a music-based subculture. Elements can be, for example, a kind of sad way of thinking, maybe even a spooky way of thinking, or even horror literature and old horror books. Even some animals got very popular in the Gothic subculture. Bats, snakes, spiders, all of those animals are not really liked in a society, but the Gothic subculture made those animals to a symbol. Like in every subculture, also the Gothic subculture has its own philosophy. We all preach acceptance and want that everyone can live their life how they want it to be. So no, you can't be racist or homophobic when you're goth. Even though we're attracted to the more dark side of life, that doesn't mean that we're evil. And yes, style is a big factor in recognizing each other, but it is not the factor that makes you goth. So don't worry, you don't have to walk around in black all the time. But if you're looking for a Gothic style, I can recommend buying accessories first and then pimp your outfit. It's way cheaper than buying Gothic brands. If you have any topics that you would like to address in this mini-series, then please leave a comment and I will make a video about it.
Hello, my name is Anastasia, and I'm here to talk to you about the creation of Gothic rock. Goth was effectively born when Bauhaus released the single Bela Lugosi's Dead in 1979. It was deemed a Gothic rock song by critics who described the sound as particularly unusual for post-punk, because it borrowed elements of another genre, Jamaican dub. Bauhaus's eccentric and innovative use of Jamaican dub in post-punk effectively created Gothic rock as we know it today. The sound characteristics of Gothic rock will always feature tom-heavy percussion, jangly, ethereal-sounding guitars, and driven melodies by bass lines.
Let's talk about the influence of black music and culture on Bauhaus. So pretty much anybody in the goth subculture knows that Bauhaus is probably one of the most influential bands in our scene, in particular because of Bela Lugosi's Dead. What a lot of people don't know is how much influence black music and culture actually had on Bauhaus and on that specific song. So first we're going to talk a little bit about Bauhaus's influences in general. So for one thing, they were a post-punk band. They did come out of the punk scene and subculture, as pretty much all the early goth bands did. So there is that influence. There's also a glam rock influence, which is quite prominent in Bauhaus's music and also their aesthetics. They basically took a lot of glam rock things and just darkened them. The bass line to Bela Lugosi's Dead is actually lifted from a Gary Glitter song. And you also see this in their David Bowie cover and in some of their stage antics. But in addition to that, something that not a lot of people really talk about very much, although you can hear it in some of their music, is the influence of dub on Bauhaus's music and of reggae, which are types of music that are very, very intimately connected to black culture and that were pioneered by black artists. You do hear some of this in some of the deeper cuts on some of their albums. It's not really as prominent in most of their most popular songs. Bela Lugosi's Dead is actually an exception, and here's why. So when Bauhaus went in to record that song, they hadn't really come out with much other music before. They were a brand new band, and their sound wasn't really very familiar to the producer or really anybody else. So when they recorded that song, the producer decided that he would actually record it the way that he tended to record dub bands. And Bauhaus was fine with this because, as I said, they were actually really big fans of that type of music. So the style of the recording of that song and of the production is actually based on dub music and therefore on music that is deeply rooted in black culture. And without that, that song wouldn't sound the way that it does. So this is basically just a friendly reminder to all the other white goths out there that goth, as we know it today, wouldn't look the same or wouldn't really exist in the way that it does if it weren't for influences that come from black culture on one of the most prominent bands of the goth world, and on the song in particular that a lot of people kind of cite as sort of the beginning of goth being like a popular thing that a lot of people knew about and participated in.